I used to hear about spiritual service, which is sort of a path of yoga where you purify yourself by being of service to others, whether that's working for a charity, working for a food kitchen, or volunteering at a hospice. Whether I used to think about it was from the ego's perspective. Okay, well, I'll do all this icky stuff because it's for my it's for my liberation. So okay, I'm prepared to do all this stuff. But at least I'm going to be enlightened at the end of it. But now I realize oh, no, it's just the way that the ego looks at it. So if I talk about my own journey, first of all, I wanted to become enlightened, and I wanted to know who I was. I wanted to really understand who am I and why am I here, and how can I be happy? How can I move beyond this sort of existential angst and fear that we all find ourselves in? So I was striving to become enlightened, and I answered really in the course of the years that I've been doing this, all of the questions that I had. So I was able to really have a fundamental understanding of all of these things as who I am. So I mean, I was fortunate to be able to change kind of myself, if you like. So what I found is that powerful moments of spiritual understanding, where you have profound epiphanies, like insights, where you really are on right into the stratosphere, and then you're like, oh my God, you see that you are one with everything. So I've had a lot of different moments like that. So I've been, lucky or fortunate enough to have these experiences of non-duality. A lot of that was because of the work with my teacher, other teachers, also plant medicine. And having these momentary higher states is extremely useful, right? Because it's like if you're lost in a forest and you just don't know which way is north anymore, or where to go, you've got to seek higher ground. You've got to climb a tree, or you've got to get up somewhere so you can go, oh shit, look, I was walking in circles.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
And so a higher spiritual state gives you a momentary glimpse of your potential. And as you know, what happens after the peak of that higher state? Well, you come back. And whether that was because you had a meditation retreat, or you took plant medicine, or whatever it was, you come back and you go, that was amazing. That was amazing. How do I get back there? And then what a lot of people do, and what I did, was to think that spiritual development was the search for these higher states of experience. But what I found eventually was that, you've got to understand that those are momentary, and that what's really important is to develop in such a way that you can make those states actual stages, so that they become, imagine you're climbing a mountain, they become your base camp, and then you go higher. Firstly, I was looking towards spiritual experience as an escape, very escapist. I was trying to meditate my way out of the world. So I was basically building a spaceship, It's like meditating on, sort of neglecting a lot of my responsibilities, as a father, as a husband, as a, somebody who had to be a provider and put food on the table. I was one of those useless spiritual people that can have these incredible experiences, can't pay the rent. It's like, you meet them all the time. It's like, that's great. But like Ram Dass would say, have these higher states, and then you'd find out that, oh God, all these people that you come across constantly bringing you down, and then the tax office sends you a letter, and like, oh God, I think I just need to meditate better and meditate harder. What about your children? Don't they need you? Well, yeah, but if I become enlightened, I'll be a better father, surely. So I was in so many ways running away, escaping to these higher states. So it took me a very long time to understand that, I got to try and integrate this shit. It has to look like something. It has to look like something in my work, in my relationships. Otherwise, it really is just spiritual bypassing. It really is just escapism. I've come to see that is ultimately where all of my spiritual endeavor has led me to is like, okay, I've achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. I've understood everything I wanted to understand. Like, as arrogant as that sounds, I really have been fortunate enough to get answers to my questions. So now my life is not for me anymore in terms of Justin and the story of and the personal history of Justin. It's like, well, what can I do with all of this resources that I have? And I want to make that available to others. My joy now comes from helping others. Like, I don't care about myself because I'm happy. I am filled. I'm joyful. My general experience is of fulfillment, of satisfaction, of having meaning and purpose. So then I'm just like looking around. Okay, well, who can I help? What can I do? And I think that is what the goal of enlightenment should be, is to bring our highest potential into our world, with our family, with our loved ones, with everything. And I want to also say that I'm by no means enlightened, but I have sort of got to a space where I feel very fortunate and liberated from all of the suffering that I used to have on my shoulders. So then I just want to help other people. It just seems natural.
Yeah. So it's almost a whole different way of looking at enlightenment altogether. So do you think it's as binary as that evolutionary enlightenment is all about being at the service for others as well, and lifting everyone up rather than just yourself?
It is about service. And it's not about service in the way that I first used to think about it, because, and the reason that the ego does that is because it believes that there is fundamentally something wrong, that there is lack. So it's always trying to get something. So it's always in this codependency. It needs somebody else to get something. Yeah, and the authentic part of you naturally gives, not to get something, but because at a soul level, at a heart level, in the fulfillment of the other, your deepest needs are met. So it's beautiful. And then you can come to any situation empty-handed.
Yeah. Okay. It's a lot of new information for me. I think one thing that kind of confused me is this aspect of doing it for yourself versus doing it for the greater good. So I really liked your metaphor of going up the tree, or let's say going up the mountain. And you were saying before you wanted to escape life, so you were basically building a rocket to kind of shoot up once every while, almost like bypassing the mountain.
Yes.
And then evolutionary enlightenment is a way of actually, like really being in life and in the world, and climbing the mountain and then setting up camp a bit higher. So you're probably more likely to reach these states.
You're not looking to escape. You're looking to get in, so you could also call it embodied enlightenment, right? Or empathic enlightenment, because it's what you realize is that your deepest fulfillment is here, so there's so many perspectives that look at our incarnation as fundamentally problematic and fundamentally wrong in some way. We say this is a prison planet, this is samsara, and we have to get out of here, right? But what if we had chosen to come here? Like, just imagine, it's just a scenario that I'll put out there. What if we came here, you chose to come to this planet, to this, difficult incarnation, to enlighten it, so that it could become spiritualized. And then we can see that everything starts to make sense, that our suffering makes sense, that it's for a reason, and that in some maybe even slightly perverse way, the joy of a spiritual warrior who's really been on the path, someone that's taken on their shadow and has prepared to have their heart broken tens and hundreds of times, perhaps, like really broken, their joy is being in suffering while they allow the enlightened perspective to shine through them to as many souls as possible, so that then this dimension can become spiritualized deeply, you know, a loving, loving place. So then if we start to think about it like that, then planet Earth is where we're supposed to be, not something we're trying to escape from. But actually, life makes sense, and our incarnation makes sense, and our suffering makes sense.